Welcome to this insightful free masterclass on negotiating constraints with your manager like a pro, part of our Secrets to Success program, and all under 15 minutes. Can you believe it? Here at Educating Mindy, we are focused on sharing highly valuable and rapid secrets to benefits not only of your immediate success, but for your future success. And we do this by simplifying knowledge and focusing your valuable time on immediate application via action. I'm Brad Isaacs, founder of Educating Mindy, a seasoned project manager, trainer and coach, and I'm excited to share with you some secrets of negotiating constraints. You can access a free copy of the workbook below to help you make notes throughout this masterclass. Please make sure that when you open the link, you hit File and make a copy, and try not to edit this document directly, as I will receive a notification. But before we dive in, ask yourself one question. How much will you invest in yourself? And what return will you see in the near future? Getting back to the topic, here's a brief agenda for this masterclass. I will explain the fundamentals to provide some context, understanding of the environment, critical perspectives to share understanding, action time where you and I should complete an effective negotiation framework, and I'll provide a short quiz for this section. But it's worth noting that all quizzes are embedded for modules once you sign up, and to of course help you retain knowledge and reaffirm your understanding. And finally, I'll summarise the secrets of success for this masterclass. Let's begin by discussing some fundamentals to provide context. Success in project management involves several crucial factors. For example, aligning project goals with available resources, as success is of course measured by the project manager delivering results that satisfy both the manager's expectations and meets the project requirements. Gaining a comprehensive understanding of the project environment is of course equally important, as each project has its own unique challenges, stakeholders and priorities. And by analysing the broader picture, including the goals of the organisation and external factors that may challenge those goals, you can effectively tailor your negotiation approach. As you can see, the environment can be really unpredictable. It was due to rain 3 days ago. I'm getting sideswiped. Knowing when to negotiate constraints. While some constraints may be non-negotiable due to regulatory or budgetary reasons, or at the discretion of your manager of course, others offer flexibility. Therefore, creating a list of negotiable and non-negotiable constraints can help you assess the scope of negotiation or guide discussions with your manager. Examples include identifying time required for specific project tasks, the availability of individuals and shared resources, or exploring cost-saving options that maintain or improve efficiency and quality. This also includes considering the resources required to mitigate risks, or keeping sponsors informed about constraints in live projects, and negotiating for potential negative impacts way ahead of schedule. And finally, understanding the project requirements and stakeholders' expectations. A successful negotiation results in a win-win scenario where both parties benefit from creative solutions that address constraints without compromising on delivery, possibly quality or objectives. Successful negotiation will also foster a collaborative relationship with your line manager, built on trust and mutual respect, demonstrating your ability to navigate challenges effectively and positively demonstrate you as an asset to the organisation, enhancing your reputation. Overall, focusing on the desired outcome, understanding the context, and knowing when to apply negotiation tactics, and striving for those mutually beneficial results, you can effectively navigate complexities of project management. And remember, successful negotiation is not solely about individual gains, but achieving best possible outcomes for everyone. Briefly, to ensure you understand my perspective about the framework that I'm going to be sharing with you today in this masterclass, and we're about to get started, let's discuss what, why and how factors. What are constraints? These are limitations or restrictions that affect the execution of a project. Constraints can include factors such as budget, time, materials, technology, facilities, and the list goes on. But the consequences of poor acceptance of constraints can be severe. Budget overruns, project delays, dissatisfied stakeholders. And these are just a few examples, but when constraints aren't negotiated effectively and upfront, projects can spiral out of control, impacting not only timelines and budgets, but also the overall success and reputation of the project team and the organisation. So how can we negotiate constraints effectively? I mentioned earlier, firstly, it's essential to establish constraints clearly from the outset. This means identifying and understanding all relevant limitations up front. Next, define boundaries. What is and isn't negotiable? This clarity prevents misunderstandings and ensures all parties are on the same page. And finally, confirm the acceptance criteria. Agree on specific metrics or indicators that help signify success and, of course, the project delivery. Let's illustrate the impact of constraints with a real-life example and imagine a software development project with tight deadlines and limited resources. Without effective negotiation, the project team may struggle to deliver the required functionality within the specified timeframe. However, by negotiating resources and allocation up front, adjusting the scope and implementing efficient workflows, the team can overcome these constraints and deliver a successful project on time and within budget. It's action time! Woohoo! Many professionals often misplace the simplicity of this framework or forget how effective it really can be in a negotiation process with your line manager or senior leaders. And the framework is known as the iron triangle. And if this is new to you, great. If it's not, and you're thinking, oh, I know this already, it's always great to refresh. You might know the framework, but do you know how to use it? The framework represents three fundamental constraints of any project: time, cost, and quality. And together they represent the scope of a project. Picture these constraints as internet-connected sides of a triangle. If you make change to one side, inevitably this is going to impact the other two. Let me provide a theoretic example. Suppose your manager, who is possibly also your sponsor, the person responsible for signing off, the budget and benefits, and they insist on accelerating the project timeline. And typically, sponsors want results now, and this is due to pressures from above. They can sometimes fail to appreciate time, the effort and energy that goes into the work that you're doing. After all, they have their own constraints. This represents a potential trade-off situation, such as the requirement for more people to support the project work, to keep the project on track. Otherwise, this change could affect time and compromise the quality or the output of the project. And briefly, trade-offs are those, for the new to the topic, the increasing aspects of the design may require more time and money. Conversely, reducing costs might lead to sacrificing quality or alternatively extending the timeline. Recognizing these trade-offs can empower you to become more creative with solutions or seek guidance from your manager. Hold on a second. The question's coming through loud and clear. How can I back up my observations? That's a great question. By presenting these trade-offs using the iron triangle framework, you could illustrate or map out any ideas for change and negotiate a realistic approach that balances all constraints. Here's a real-life example. Imagine you're managing a project with a fixed budget and deadline, and your manager requests additional features midway through the project. This change represents an increase of quality. They start with the sentence, "Can I just add?" And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, you cannot just add anything. It's important not to agree immediately to any proposal for change. It's harder to work yourself out of an agreement than it is to control one. You can mitigate the situation by politely and firstly explaining that you need to analyse what this potential change means to the constraints of the project. And secondly, by providing a nearby realistic date that you could then come back and discuss this change with them. That's a really professional way to respond. Please feel free to pause whenever you need whilst taking your notes. And don't forget you've got your workbook there. Hopefully you're using that and it's really supportive throughout these sections. Now for the calculation. In an agile fashion, prioritise delivering value to the customer. Start by listing any negative impacts the proposed change could have to customer value and rate it 1 to 5. 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest priority, given the nature of the impact. Then using figure 1 and 2 in your workbook, we can calculate the impacts to time and cost. Figure 1 represents an equal share of scope for the project for time, cost and quality. The original constraints would be equal in percentage. 100% divided by 3 equals 33.33%. The percentage could be used to represent the project budget. Let's drop that in all relevant fields. And don't forget there's an extra 0.01 to add to any one of these figures to total to 100%. Now then, 33.33% of 400k equals 133,333.33. So let's plot that in for time, cost and quality, not forgetting the additional 0.01. In calculating the increase from quality from your list of potential impacts, let's say, for example, it's worth now 50% of the budget. In figure 2, plot this in the impact of budget allocation for quality, and that's 50% of 400k equals 200k. In analysing this data, that leaves us with 25% of the budget for both time and cost. 25% of 400k equals 100k. We can now see that we have a potential loss of minus 8.33% for each of time and cost. That equals to 33,332 each. Adding these figures together in total is a minus 16.66%, or in monetary terms, that's 66.6k. We are left with decisions to be made. Either the budget needs to increase by 66.6k to achieve all acceptance criteria, or we find creative solutions that reduces or eradicates the problem. This example would scare any decision maker, for example your manager, in making unnecessary or irrational decisions, unless money is no object. And the reason why this is scary is because that's a loss of budget that will impact time factors against the project activities, or impact budget for costs of materials. Equally, you might be tasked with finding creative solutions, but remember, ideas come from teamwork, don't just work alone, and always give credit where it's due. By presenting this analysis, you will engage in a constructive dialogue with your manager to explore alternatives and find mutually beneficial solutions. As promised, to highlight the secrets of success in this masterclass from the final clip here, we've covered an amazing amount in just under 15 minutes. We've covered 7 essential aspects that can truly transform how you approach project negotiation with your manager from here on, such as understanding constraints, when to negotiate, win-win scenario, applying the iron triangle framework, clear communication and boundary setting, trade-off awareness, analysing proposed change before agreeing to change. You are now equipped with powerful knowledge to navigate and challenge constraints, but our journey doesn't have to end here. Of course, there are other factors that will determine the success of your negotiation and the way that you manage change, and you'll find these in the Secrets of Success program, including estimation methods, benefits, and negotiation strategy. You will explore the resources available to you in this program to help you challenge problems, build your reputation and lead successful change as an effective project manager. Book a call or join the program or comment on your experience. And remember to ask yourself, how much will you invest in yourself and what return will you see in the near future? I hope you enjoyed this session. Thanks very much for joining me.